podcast. I'm in Max. Pursuing the RPG hobby with reckless abandon.
Why, hello, and thank you for joining us for Season 21, Episode 19 of Happy Jack's RPG Podcast. My name is Stu.
My name is Kimmy.
Your mic's not on. Check the switch.
Ooh. My name is Kimmy.
I'm still tapping.
I'm Abria, and I don't know if my mic is on.
Your mic is on.
Okay, cool.
You're good. Everything is okay here.
Fine. How are you? We're good.
Second to last weekend of the Renaissance Pleasure Fair is happening this weekend. And then next weekend is closing weekend. And then Teardown. I'm going to get my life back.
I love the people who no longer work fair. You say the second to last weekend, both Tap and I reached for our drinks. So it was like, oh, God.
That was amazing.
I remember those days.
And so if you want to come out and say hello at Rogues Reef Stage.
Bring beer.
1, 2:15, 4, and 5:45 at Felicity Cove this weekend. So there you are. If you want to come by and say hello and such things. And buy CDs. If you want to buy CDs.
Merch.
Bring drinks.
If you would like to... no, wait. In this episode of Happy Jack's RPG Podcast, Ed from Minnesota writes in about religion in games. Again, we had an email last week about this. Yeah. He kind of had a slightly different take. It almost should be its own topic.
Yeah.
Because it's a big topic.
Yeah.
Steve from SoCal sends 3 musings. And Axel from Germany sends us a props-related horror story. I did not pre-read it because I want to be surprised.
Uh-oh.
Interesting call.
I have strong feelings about it.
I'm kind of hoping it's going to be like what was that book by Carlton Melnick III?
Oh, that one.
Did you ever watch Your Book Is Why Daddy Drinks? Or listen to the podcast
No,
that
I did not.
Tyler used to do? It was it was either the first or no, the first was one of the Twilight books, I think. Was the first one they did.
That's a good one.
But the second one was this Carlton Melnick III book. And it's the
Anytime someone's got a third on it, you know they've just been purebred into, like...
His first name is Carlton. Like, it starts off.
It's Bizarro. It's called Bizarro Fiction.
Oh, that's reassuring.
Right. And I think it's called The Wizard Kobolds +3 Dildo of Something or Other, a adventure for 4 to 6 players, levels 5 through 10, or something like that.
That's the name of the novel?
That's the title of the novel, yes. And the novel sort of starts out as like a parody of a D&D module, and the cover is a parody of a D&D module. But it's Bizarro Fiction. I think it's called Bizarro Fiction. They called it.
Is that like Jabberwocky, where they just like say weird shit?
No. Oh, no. The whole point of it,
Right.
the whole point of it is to shock and offend people as much as possible. So they push the limits of. There are no limits. They talk about whatever they can think of that will cause a revulsive or violent reaction from the people reading it. It's this weird. It's like sub-genre.
Something no one should ever read, and therefore we should never tell them about.
Got it.
Perhaps.
Certainly not spend like 5 minutes of a show on it.
No, never. No, he actually used to come on and plug the show because they would read stuff. It was pretty funny because the first 10 minutes of the podcast was always, okay, so we read this. Oh my God, it was bad. Yeah, it was so bad. It was worse than the last thing we read. Yeah, it really was. It was worse than the last thing. And they actually banned all of this sub-genre of literature from their show after they read 1 or 2 of them.
That makes sense.
Because that's what it's meant to do.
Yeah.
You can email us if you would like to email the show at happyjacksrpg@gmail.com. That's happyjacksrpg@gmail.com. And emails are getting light, so now's a good time to write in an email because there's only a backlog of a few at this point. We're on Twitter,
Blurb.
happyjacksrpg, all one word. We're also on Instagram, happyjacksrpg, all one word.
Yeah.
We're also on Facebook, happyjacksrpg, all one word. And if you'd like to watch the show live, you can watch the show live at happyjacks.org/live. We do the show at 7 p.m. Pacific time on Friday nights.
Yep.
This is Friday, right? Yes.
Yes.
Friday nights.
We already established this.
Fairbrain is real.
It is a thing. It's 100% a thing.
Yep. I've been getting a lot of sleep. I've been going to bed at like 8:30 or 9 o'clock every night, and it's helped.
Yeah.
Because
We're old now.
Side note, Zima's yucky.
it is.
Oh my God,
Zima
it's so
is
bad.
yucky.
Yeah.
Terrible.
To anyone in chat, it was
Terrible.
like, is she drinking the Zima?
Now, there's other two varieties of Zima over there because I see black labels and blue labels.
No, it's half and half because it's edgy like the 90s
Yeah.
was.
So
So the ones that are turned one way
Yeah.
have a black label.
They're all the same.
Oh, they are.
There's
Oh.
only one glorious flavor
yeah.
of Zima.
Okay.
And it's the flavor.
Yeah, I like to think of it as lemon astringent
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
with a little bit of vodka.
Like I said before we started, it's like what kids think alcohol tastes like.
Right.
Yeah.
Almost good.
All right. Religion and games from Ed in Minnesota.
Soda.
Soda.
Salutations, red-eared kazoo crazy anthropomorphic jackers.
Wow.
Is he calling us furries?
Red-eared kazoo crazy.
You don't see the word furry in there.
Anthropomorphic.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I think he's just thinking we're anthropomorphic kazoos, which I'm fine with.
Oh, okay, yeah. Fair enough. Fair
Yeah,
enough. That's cool.
that makes sense.
Anthropomorphizing is what sets us apart from the animals.
Ah,
I actually stole that from someone else.
if you don't tell, it's fine.
Ed from Minnesota, now in Florida. So it should be Ed in Florida, nay Minnesota, right?
It's gone to crazy town.
Here once again. After listening to your show at the end of April, where you discussed religion and gaming, I felt compelled to write in with a few thoughts I have on the topic. Notice I said compelled. That will come back later in the email.
Ah.
In order to talk about religion and gaming, I feel it is first important to understand what magic is and what heroes are. I'm a big fan of Earth Dawn
Woot.
and have brought a few of its core ideas into most of my games. One idea that I stole was that heroes are magical adepts, and their talent allows them to become superhuman in whatever path they follow. While this doesn't fit with every game, for many it allows you to explain why heroes stand out compared to everyone else. Why can your fighter yell and cause people to drop to the ground with bloody ears? Magic. Why can you lob magic fireballs at your friends and enemies? Magic. Well, that's redundant. Why can you pull a soul back from beyond to animate a corpse? Magic. With a core idea that heroes are that way because they are the source of magic, how they choose to focus it becomes their class, skill set, or whatever expression it is needed to make up the numbers on the character sheet. I think that, and this is important because this allows you to define how you want religion to work in your game. In my D&D game, I use the Church of Light and Dark as the primary religion. All of the Egyptian gods worshipped by all, depending on what their needs are at the moment. Priests of the church are mostly not heroes, which means they don't have any spells. Some heroes join the church and bring their abilities with them. The bishop may be a 6th level fighter who has dedicated himself to Set, or a 6th level sorcerer, rogue, or druid. I try to make the philosophy that drives the character down a particular path not control a religious control a religious ideal. Does that make sense? Is that a sentence?
Almost.
I try to make a philosophy that
think
drives
yes.
the character down a particular path, not
Not
control
control
a
a
religious ideal.
Just missing some punctuation, but
This
that's
in-
okay.
I try not to make
Right.
instead of control.
Yeah. Right.
It's just, there's so much in that. Whatever, we don't have to talk about the grammar of it.
This, in turn, allows me to define how gods interact with the world. Everyone knows magic is real and sees the result on a regular basis. Sometimes the perpetrators claim it is due to religious reasons, sometimes not. But nobody can deny that it's real. Where I have fun is in defining how most spells are resolved. How boring in D&D it is to cast comprehend languages. Suddenly you can know any language you want. But what if the spell actually summoned an invisible imp who whispers translations in your ears and respoke your words from nearby in a whispery hiss? I can tell you it creeps the fuck out of my players. A lot of them don't use the spell after finding out how it works, but it allows me to add in a lot of unknown factors as to if the gods are real, or if they are instead only the constructs of otherworldly powers that are trying to influence this world. I think it makes the game more fun for everyone, not knowing the will of the gods. My players know that every priest has his or her own agenda, and while they may claim to be in contact with the divine will, it is likely a load of bullshit, probably, unless they really are a prophet, and not just claiming to be one. Because gods are really real, and not just magic users, including fighters, bards, and rogues, etc., trying to profit from organized religion. At least that is what I was taught in church when I was a kid. Hopefully this helps to give an alternative way to look at magic and religion. Specifically, while every church is going to claim to do divine will, I would suggest changing the rules on how gods can interact so that there is no direct communication allowed. Throw the uncertainty back in and have the power that drives spells to be an internal focus. Don't have spells be lost if characters fall off the path. How much more terrifying is a heretic who can still use spells just as well as your high priest? It allows for a lot more schisms inside a religion as well. I love schisms. It also allows prayer spells to become something uncertain. Are you getting divine help? But what really is the agenda of the power sending you the communication? Is it an imp fulfilling a magical obligation, telling you something it knows about your predicament? Or does it have an agenda and is only telling you part of the story that will get you to do what it wants you to do? If you are interested, I can write in again and add more ideas, hoping this provides others with ideas to help them in their own games. Now, for a question, do you think it is better to have religion tied directly to power, or can they be separate? I have given you my logic. Do you see flaws that I have missed? How do you feel this affects having separate theologies in play, separate parts of one theology? And should priests of a pantheon be at war with each other or with other pantheons? I mean, really, why would the priest of Set and Ra fight each other when Thor and Loki are trying to convert their followers? Anyways, that's enough for one night. Take a shot.
Yay.
Oh, you're hardcore. You're actually going to try to finish that,
Yeah.
huh? All right.
I finish what I start.
All right.
All right, we're gonna have a death pact.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Let's do this.
Our friendship is real.
Yay!
Hooray. Cheers.
I'll take one
Yeah,
too.
look
Yeah! Fuck yeah!
Because I have a beer chaser.
They're worse when they're warm. So good luck.
Zima, it's worse when it's warm.
It's hot like your hand is.
We need shirts that say that.
They could,
Oh, we'll get sued for copyright infringement.
Yeah.
Probably.
Oh my god.
you really think they're going to defend that trademark?
I know, right?
Ed from Minnesota, now Florida, hoping one day to be in Hawaii.
Ooh.
But not when there's like lava floating around.
Yeah, but when you do, let us know so we can crash at your place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
PPS, better have a chaser. I'm sure that shot is needing company.
Yay. Oh,
Nice.
no.
So I kind of wanted to use this as a jumping off point to talk about religion and its relationship to quote unquote mystical powers.
Yeah.
If there should be like causal relationship or if they should be separated or and just the greater mysteries of the universe in a game. Unless, of course, you're actually playing demigods.
Right.
That's
right.
a little different.
Right?
That's a little different.
I've never heard of that
Then you-
game. What is
yeah.
that?
Well, you can check it out at
Yeah.
when is it on?
Sundays.
On Sundays.
Sundays.
4 to 8 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good show.
Yeah.
I'm caught up. Are you?
It's interesting.
If you drink it fast enough, you don't taste it.
Yeah.
I love you.
You go ahead, and
All
I'll
right.
follow.
So, I mean, it's one of these things. I like that he is advocating for there not to be 100% like, yes, there are these gods, and this is all there can be, and everybody believes in them. I mean, a lot of people play D&D specifically that way. That's always been, I like the fact that he's opening it up to other possibilities. Like, maybe you just believe in this god, and it's just like a really powerful magic user who's messing with your mind. I like that there's that gray area that you gives the GM a lot of stuff to work with. I played in the most recent 5e game I played a Warforge, which was super fun. And even though he saw people using magic and there was like cleric in the party and things like that, my Warforge was convinced, well, I was created by humans, so humans were just created by something more powerful than them, and they just don't understand what it is. So it wasn't that, yes, there was something that had created humans, but that he didn't believe in the gods necessarily as like divine beings. They're just like, he was like, well, you made me, so something else bigger than you made you, and you just don't understand it yet.
They're dudes who made a flesh robot.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a nightmare.
So that was like, I mean, so that was like as close to like, I guess, an atheist as you can get in D&D, but it was an interesting way to kind of navigate the world that way.
Mm-hmm. And this definitely feels like a spin that's directed more at a party that's like religion. Like, and if you can't say the word religion without making that snorty noise, like, this is the way you want to go about dealing with it. I like anything that makes the world, like, bigger and more interesting, I really like. So I really liked the imp with comprehend languages.
I like that.
Like, that's a really fun detail to add. But I also have played, I play a lot of clerics in D&D. And I like that there's different, like, depending on the campaign and the world you guys all kind of build together, can define mortals' relationship with the divine, and I feel like it comes out a little bit different every time. Yeah, which is super exciting.
Yeah. It sounds to me. Oh, I don't play clerics. I play people who think they're clerics.
That's an important distinction.
And are wrong.
And are 100% wrong.
100% wrong.
That's amazing.
Super interesting, but wrong.
I killed it.
Wow.
What it sounds like you're
I
saying.
I didn't want to taste it anymore.
Yeah.
What it sounds like you're saying here is ambiguity in religion creates drama.
Mm.
And that's like all these different things are just kind of examples of that idea of like we don't know what really is out there.
Yeah.
And a lot of us are used to playing D&D, are used to playing fantasy games where there is no ambiguity.
Yeah.
You know exactly who created the world. You know exactly who is the good side. You know exactly who is the bad side. And I like that idea of like ambiguity of it. Causing drama or make it so that things are different than a cleric might expect. I used to run an Exalted game, and there's the backstory of that is fucking huge, but basically like the gods kind of disappear when they kill the primordials, kind of like in Greek mythology. They kill the primordials and go into the Jade Pleasure Dome and then disappear. People are like, oh, they're having fun in the Jade Pleasure Dome. And I like to run it as the Jade Pleasure Dome is actually a game between them and these really crazy, powerful beings in the wild that are of pure chaos, that are trying to destroy all of reality all the time.
Oh, okay.
And so the primordials were playing this game against them, because when they agree to something, then they have to do it. That creates form, which is what allowed for all of creation to exist.
Okay.
So the primordials were kicking ass, and were just about to win, and then the gods kick down the door, and their Exalted come in and kill the primordials. And then the gods go and go, oh, we're fucked. We're fucked. And that's why everything is kind of falling down. There's all this other stuff that happens. But that idea of the gods are they're in this Jade Pleasure Dome. No, it's something completely different. I think is interesting. And then build stuff off of that for the rest of the thing of how the world works leads people to come into pockets of ambiguity. Wait a second, it shouldn't be like this. Why is it like this? Why are they funneling all of this essence towards these things?
Yeah.
It also sounds like there's this idea that you're working with here, Mr.
Ed
from
Ed
Minnesota.
from Minnesota. Florida.
That followers are a currency, right? That they're fighting over followers.
That's kind of a common trope.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And that's not one that you necessarily have to have. Like, if you look in mythological, like Ragnarok, etc., nothing has to do with how many followers they have. It's fighting for the fate of the world between these different gods.
Yeah.
So you can have that as a trope, or you can have, that's why Set and Ra are fighting each other, because Set wants to literally destroy the world. And maybe his followers follow that because of whatever belief they have that is coming to a better world, or they'll go to a better place, or what have you. And you can have that whole follower thing be something that the followers do for earthly power, instead of that it's something that the gods actually want. Like, that might be an interesting thing to throw on top of that. Is that what actually powers the gods, what the gods actually care about, is something else.
Right.
And that has more of that ambiguity.
I think
with
when
your
you
religion.
add in multiple pantheons, though, that is like an interesting thing, because you're right. Like in Ragnarok, like they aren't fighting over followers, but if suddenly you have a whole other pantheon who's not related to them introduced, maybe they do start fucking caring. It's like, well, no, because like I mean, when you're talking about specific mythologies, it's like North mythology, everyone who was there believed in that shit.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was like if someone had shown up and been like, "Hey, I believe in the Egyptian pantheon," they would have been like, "Hold your roll." Yeah, wait, I'm sorry. Like so that interest, adding that second element, which sometimes is missing in D&D and games like that too. They have their pantheon, so it's like maybe throwing in another set, like he brings up the Egyptian gods.
Well, I have a question. Does D&D specifically call it a pantheon?
Yeah.
Is it a collection? Is it literally, this is the collection of gods that are known to exist?
Well,
or is it, here are the gods of the various monotheistic religions? Do you see the distinction I'm making? Because in a religion that has a pantheon,
Yeah.
you will pray to this god when you need these things, and you will pray to that. You believe in all of them, and you will pray to all of them under various circumstances, which is different than having a world where there are various different gods and various different peoples worship these gods. That creates an entirely different religion and politics.
My understanding of it is that, it's closer to the, like, you believe in, a lot of it's, like, racially broken down, so, like, dwarves have their own, like, pantheon, and, like, you supplicate to one god more than the other, but it's never to the exclusivity of other ones, like, everything's accepted as true. But I also like the idea that, like, that's a problem with D&D. Like, if you walked into, like, the Sword Coast and were like, hey, by the way, all religions are true, and if you like one god enough, you can get powers. Like, everyone should be a cleric.
oh, that's so true.
What? Yeah. Like, every
super
kid
special
that believes
powers.
in Santa is like, if I believe in Santa, I will get presents. Hail Santa. Like, everyone should grow up and be like, I believe in all
And then
of
you can
this.
shoot presents like out of your
I
hands.
would like Fireball, please. Whichever you gives that. So I always get thrown off when they have, like, the rogue in the party is like, I don't believe in any of this. Like, you saw me. I electrified him and then ate his soul. It's real.
That's a thing.
Put your knives away.
Can you have that world where you have clerics with actual observable powers and still have atheists?
I don't think so.
Like, there's a level of
I don't
stubbornness,
think
I
so.
guess, that you
I
can
don't
just be
think
like,
so. Well, I mean,
I was
hold on.
super
stubborn.
There are people
Yeah.
who believe that the Earth is flat and we never went to the moon.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're
Because
only
we
right
did it.
about part of that.
They're only
Good job, Steve. Just immediately, I'm going to take one of these. Earth is flat. I'm very tall.
No, I saw the-
I don't see the curve.
I saw the picture of the solar system. Yeah. So it shows all the planets and this little flat
Yeah.
Earth.
Yeah.
It killed me. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I think
Did you forget what you're saying?
I mean
Oh yeah,
he
that's
totally
hilarious.
does.
Good job.
What was I talking about?
But what I'm wondering is, I mean, let's say I'm in a fantasy world, and I'm of a skeptical nature. Now I know there's magic. I can see there's magic. I don't know what powers magic, but I know there's magic. Is it possible that this guy who worships Cord and can do stuff is just harnessing the same magic that the wizards are,
I
and
think
it doesn't have
so.
anything to do with a big guy in the sky?
Yeah, see that's
You see what I'm saying?
I mean, me also just being super stubborn. You're saying someone had to be super stubborn to not believe in the gods in D&D. Like my character, like if you can find that logical connection, like, I mean, sure, like a great example of this is like the Thor movies. Like there's like, oh, this is a blah blah blah, and then Jane Foster shows up and she's like, oh, that's a da da da, and it's like magic versus I can't think of any of the
Science.
actual words.
Yeah.
I have
It's
no
like-
idea what we're talking about anymore.
I do. It's that, when she's like having surgery on
The
herself.
he calls it the Soul Forge, and she calls it something that's scientific.
MRI.
Yeah,
Like-
something like that. So it's like what they see as magic, she knows the science of, which is why it exists. So I can see how in D&D, if you play a character like you were saying, you're like, oh, yeah, you have magic powers, but it's because you've sold your soul to the super powerful imp or whatever it is. he brought up imps, and now that's like
Right.
stuck in my head.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's not a powerful imp that powerful.
That'd be awesome,
amazing.
though.
Or there's some,
Yeah.
or you're engaging in some sort of alchemy or something that
Right.
may not even involve
Absolutely.
a supernatural being.
Or some
Or-
like they're charlatans.
Yeah,
Who are trying to
exactly.
convince you.
Well, they
that
might.
there's a religion for your-
What they're doing might be efficacious,
Mm-hmm.
but it may not necessarily be magic. And there maybe this guy thinks, well, you've just discovered some weird form of medicine that
Yeah.
we don't understand yet.
Yeah.
Right.
Or it could be, oh no, there's magic. I have no idea why it's there, but I don't believe in cord.
Yeah.
Right.
Until Cord shows up, and you're like, oh goddamn.
Right.
Well, or I mean, maybe some of the gods are real, and maybe
Yeah.
one of them, and like he's saying, I think he brought up at one point, maybe they're, I keep going with Thor because I'm focused on that. I don't know why, but like if Loki wanted to set up, like he pretends to be Odin for part of it.
Right.
Like, what if there's a trickster god, or maybe there's a demon who's not, just been thrown down or whatever, and so instead of being like, hey, come be evil with me, it's like, oh, let me start a religion where all these people think they're doing good.
Right.
And give them power.
Yeah.
And then it's like it turns out they're not one of the gods at all. And I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of ways you can play with that isn't like, oh, this is the pantheon of gods that everyone believes in.
Yeah. That's a good point. I like that.
It's still that part of ambiguity can cause drama
Yeah.
in a religious
Yes.
sense.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And surety is not dramatic.
Ever.
No.
True.
That is correct.
And if you don't want drama there, well, don't worry about it. But I think it's more interesting to have that ambiguity.
But keep religion in your game because that's how you get the Met Gala.
How you get
Yes,
the what?
the
That's how you
Met
get
Gala.
The Met Gala.
Oh my God, the clothes
Praise
from the Met Gala.
Rihanna. She is my young pope.
Heavenly bodies.
I'm preparing for the Blade and Tusk
Yes.
campaign,
yeah.
which is going to be decidedly dark
Yeah.
because I'm going to be playtesting new rules.
And you've said it on air now, so you're not allowed to change your mind again.
No, because I want to run this.
Right.
No, because I have something I specifically want to playtest.
Okay, good. Okay.
Because I basically wrote up demonic magic. The world is.
Nice.
There's the Catholic Church, and then orcs show up, so the Crusades never happened, and blah, 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 blah. So there's these giant fights for Europe. And then, of course, there's also the orcs bring magic with them. There had already been magic on the earth, but it was very, very quiet and very secret. But the orcs bring it, so now there's like the sort of whole witchcraft thing is real thing happens, because most of the church didn't really believe in witchcraft.
Yeah.
But now they know it exists. So there's now an inquisition that's going out trying to hunt down people who are practicing witchcraft.
and
but
recruit them.
No.
That's dumb.
Well,
I believe that they would do that.
maybe.
Still.
Maybe.
Some of them might.
No. I believe
Some of
that.
them, yes, some of them
I
might.
believe that they
But
would
not
go
by
them and
doctrine.
kill them.
But not by doctrine.
But they should recruit them.
Yes. But one of the things I wanted to come up with, because one of the Catholic Church, or the church at that point, the Christian church at that era, because there really wasn't anything other Christian church at that era, gets a real bad rap in that game because it's pretty much nothing but oppression and meddling with local politics and things like that. So I wanted to create an option where they kind of need to be around. So I came up with the rules for demonic magic, which is literally practiced by those who worship fallen angels. So these people will get together and summon fallen angels who can only exist on the earth for a very brief period of time before they have to possess someone. So it's all the rules deal with possession and what happens to a character who's been possessed and what sort of
I would like to
abilities
go to
they
this
have.
game. Please.
That's good because Maria's in the game.
It's gonna be bleak because and one of the things, because I put in all the rules for exorcisms, because there's an order within the church that performs exorcisms once a bishop has verified that 4 out of the 6 tests of possession
So,
have
like,
been
for
passed.
real Catholic Church rules. This
Yeah,
is so good.
I've been doing a lot of reading.
Maria's going to show up in one of the Met Gala outfits.
I'm like, gonna start
that'd be
gluing.
awesome.
What's the hat called? A miter.
A miter? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna start bedazzling a miter.
You'll have a mighty miter.
Mighty Miter. That's my name.
Amazing.
But in it, even the most devout people in the church don't have any special powers.
Right.
They have more of an ability to resist being possessed.
That's good.
But they don't have miracles or maybe witchcraft, because they're very much
like
about
Yeah.
God doesn't give people powers.
Now, where does the
Used to, but he doesn't anymore.
so where does the power of the orcs come from?
There's a physical. That's a manifestation of sort of another reality, and that's the same. That's the same as because there's also human magic that's existed for probably thousands of years, but has been kept very secret ever since the whole.
Like druidish.
There's a druid tradition. There's also a tradition that's more
You don't
little
wanna tell
Middle
me right
Eastern.
now?
I don't want to give all the
Okay.
specifics out.
It's Drew-ish.
It's Druish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you were Jewish.
Fun. That sounds awesome. That sounds
But-
very cool.
But I wanted to. I included that because the church gets a bad rap in that game.
Yeah.
And I wanted to have an aspect of it where it's like.
They have a purpose.
Yeah.
There's actually something there. There's a real reason they're here.
Yeah.
I really like the idea of the church as not necessarily like people walking around doing God's magical will, but like they are a stabilizing force for humanity. That's really cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, but other people have magic. No. Do not do that thing, though. And then sprinkle some water and just hope it goes away.
And then runs away really
That
fast.
feels very good.
Awesome. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I've been doing all kinds of research about the 7 sacraments and,
Yeah, dope.
and the 6 signs of possession and all that stuff.
Yes. Have you watched a bunch of Supernatural? I feel like that's necessary.
No, I watched.
I don't think that's real.
What's the series? the
Dean and Sam are real.
The Exorcist is so good.
The Exorcist
Yeah.
series. That's one of the things. One of the signs is an extra pupil.
What?
Yeah.
You haven't seen that in The Exorcist, the series?
No, I haven't watched the series.
Also nipples, right? Like extra nipples. Oh, that's witchcraft. Never
That's
mind,
witchcraft.
it's different.
I know, but there's a
Sorry.
there was something in there about like if they have one of the signs of possession was someone had a mote in their eye, and that was the pupil of the demon or the fallen that had possessed them.
Yeah.
So they would, they'll roll their eyes up into their head, and that is so the demon can see what's going on around them. So it'd be like a little speck that is the demon's pupil.
I like that.
It's
That's
creepy. It's creepy.
That's amazing.
So, but this whole idea of how to treat religion in RPGs is a fascinating subject to me, because you want it to seem real to the players.
Yeah.
You want and that's one of the reasons that when I came up with the setting, I used real religions. I didn't want to use
Right.
Yeah.
made up ones because there's a certain zeitgeist that's going to happen amongst us because we all know whether we believe in the religion or not, we're all at least familiar enough with it.
Yeah.
And it gives it a certain level of authenticity
Yeah.
that, worshiping Ugok may not. Although Ugok rocks, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I think it's just like the flavor you're trying to shoot for,
Yeah.
whether or not you want your players to walk in with like all of the preconceived baggage that you come in with, like what
Yeah.
you know of religions up until the point where you sit down and roll some dice.
Right.
And like, yeah, depending on the kind of campaign you want to run, sometimes you're like, we need Ugok because
Right.
Yeah.
I just need to like just jump into some magic, please.
And Ugok has his place
Yeah.
with his, flappy appendages.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is, and my brain
Hail,
is just doing
hail
this
Ugok and his
awful-
flappiness.
Right.
Oh god.
All right.
I think
Thank
this
you.
is- wait,
No,
wait,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
We're not
Before we
done
move
yet.
on- Yeah, we're not done yet. I feel like before you mess with, especially if you're playing D&D, because people walk into D&D with a very kind of set expectation of how religion's going to be. Before you mess with this too much, you should definitely talk to your players.
Oh, absolutely,
Before
yeah.
you start your game, because you don't want someone to create, a character that's like very based on the traditional kind of pantheon belief, and mess with them too much without.
We're using all Egyptian gods.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
not that, but also like, it turns out the god you've been worshiping is fake. Like, you want to give them a
Yeah.
heads up. Like, you may not want to say it. Like, maybe you want that as part of your story, but you want to like at least have that conversation where you're like, hey, just the pantheon is not exactly like it is in the books. I might
Yeah.
mess with it a little bit. Like,
And
be
I think
aware.
in most games, the answer about whether a particular god really exists or not don't ever need to be answered.
That's true.
And I kind of like that, keeping it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a certain pet peeve though about, and this is kind of a trope that happens in a lot of games, where all of these like different species pantheons are proven, shown to exist 100%, except for humans, who is
Yeah.
ambiguous. And that's just kind of annoying to me, because why would you worship the human god? That's ambiguous when you know that the elves god 100% exists because he created this thing.
Right.
But Elf God can't see you because you're not willowy and slim and slender enough.
With
Well,
pointy
So you have
ears.
to-
Right. It's one of the things that happens a lot in like Warhammer or Warhammer 40k specifically, where it's like, yay, we have a god that's some dude who's being kept alive, but he's mostly dead.
Yeah.
But he still
that's our
eats
God.
1,000 souls
But
a
he still
day.
eats. Hey, he eats 1,000 souls a day to keep going, or else he would die.
That's right.
Our God's on life support. That's
Yes.
our God.
That's right.
And then there's the chaos gods that are like.
Yeah, and well, do they make minis for them though? There's no Nurgle mini, is there?
No, but there are minis of the like major demons of them.
Oh,
So
that's
you,
true.
You know
Right.
they exist.
Right.
Like they have so many demons.
I don't
Right.
know what god you said, but it sounded like you said Nurgle, which
Nurgle.
is the purple cat from
Garfield, yeah.
And I was like, Nurgle is a chaos god.
Yeah, it's
That's
makes
fine.
sense. Uh-huh.
This tracks. Sweet.
That seems legit.
Goes
right.
each.
All right, I think now we're done.
Huzzah.
Rubik Marines. 1,000
Rupert Marines.
Suns.
Oh yeah.
Zinch is the poo.
I was super excited
Oh
though.
man, it's like it's a scenario where everybody does exactly what you want them to. It never happens. That's why you like Rubric Marines.
I do, yes.
Magic robots.
Yes.
In Discord yesterday, I forget who it was, they were sharing Warhammer minis. Mm-hmm. There's finally one that somebody posted that's a woman who's not in high heels. I was so excited. I was
Oh
very
yeah,
excited.
the new Rogue Trader.
The Rogue
yeah.
Trader. She's like badass. She's got these awesome outfit on, and
Yeah.
No, is that
Yeah. And
Yes.
like half-inch heels.
yeah, this little like.
is that like now? Is that a mini for an RPG or is that a mini for Warhammer?
No, it looks like it's a game kind of like
Like a different mini game, like a
yeah, like a
smaller-
board game
sort of
stuff
like,
that's happening.
Oh, what's that game they came out with?
Imperial Assault. I don't know. I just wanted to help. I'm going to read the email
Agent-
and wait quietly.
We don't know.
Horus Heresy.
Maybe.
Wasn't there like
Sure.
a boxed Horus Heresy?
There was the one for Death Watch. What the fuck were they called? Fighting against Nids.
I can't remember that. It's like that,
I'll
something like
remember
that.
it later and go, oh my god, I know that game because I
I love
played
when we
it.
talk about stuff that none of us know what it is.
No, I know what it is. It's Death Watch fighting Tyranids.
Yeah.
I think it's called Death Watch.
Space Hulk. No, it's called
Space
Space
Hulk.
Hulk.
Okay,
That's
right.
it. It looks like it's kind of like Space Hulk.
Okay. So it's like a little standalone game
Yeah, it's a
that you
little
can
standalone
rob
game.
the minis out of to
Yeah.
play Warhammer.
All right. Okay.
All right.
It's awesome.
Thank you very much, Ed from Florida, nay,
Flora soda.
Florida.
Soda.
Ooh. Fizzy Bublik.
Yeah, that sounds like a soda with lots of fluorine.
You don't mess with the Zohan? Fan, not fan?
I like it.
Okay. I just watched it again. First time I've seen it in years.
I'm a fan. I think that's like the last of the Sailor movies before I'm like,
It's a Fizzy Bublik. The drink. Just love that stuff.
Busy Blue Light. I have burped nonstop since beginning this year.
Oh.
And I've watched everyone do it too. And I'm like, it's not just me.
No.
This
it's
is
Fizzy
tummy
Bublik.
hell.
What have you done?
You know what helps is to drink a little water.
What's water? Never heard of it.
It's the stuff that
Don't
isn't
touch.
fizzy.
Never touch the stuff. No, thank
3
you.
random musings from Steve and Sokol. Who would like to read the 3 random, or maybe one of you can read one of them and another because there's only 3.
there are
emails for us.
many.
Oh, there's like
there are
parts
many.
to this email. All right, why don't
Yeah,
we split
it's
it into
3.
parts?
It's 3 musings.
All right.
Okay.
Random musings. Should we roll a d3, or
You
just do
have
them in
a-
order?
We'll just do them.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
No, you have a d6, but I know how to convert it. There's a
What?
special formula.
Oh God! All right, I'm gonna start reading. Did you want to start reading? Brie, go.
What? Okay. Sweet. Greetings, douchebags. I went simple just to feed Tappy's nostalgia.
Aw, thanks.
I bring you a missive in multiple parts for your enjoyment and consideration. Part the first, a glimpse of the horror story that was my first gaming experience from days of yore. My very first experience playing D&D First Edition as an 8-year-old has me single-handedly playing an entire party of novice adventurers, including a 3-foot-tall halfling fighter, inexplicably wielding a 6-foot-long two-handed sword, and a 10-foot metal pole, and a few others trekking across the savannah towards a nearby dungeon, because reasons. Along the way, one party member was killed in a random encounter with the bullet. That's
It's
not
a
how bullet
monster.
spelled. Cool, thank you.
It's a monster.
I'm dumb at games. I should leave now.
You should never leave ever.
Yeah, don't do that as a trap.
Heavily armored burrowing thing, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah. It's like a shark that's made of
It's shark
metal
rhino.
that goes through land.
Like a
that
mighty
swims through
mole.
land.
I like it. Okay. But being the greedy murder hobo I was, I made sure to strip him of all his valuables before burying him.
Of course.
Yes.
Good job.
Nice.
That's just called due diligence.
Yeah.
Yes.
Next, I spied a hobgoblin village atop a nearby hill. Thinking to myself, hobgoblins are evil monsters. I must kill them all. My 2 remaining characters charged headfirst at the walled village of dozens of higher-leveled monsters and were promptly cut down.
Awesome.
Aw.
As it should happen.
My brother, who was DMing at the time, had pity on me and gave me a mulligan, but I was insistent that these foul creatures had to be eliminated.
Oh no! I just rolled poorly.
Oh, there's not
So
a horror
I-
story. This is hilarious.
Once again, tried to pit my 2 first-level characters against a small army of hobgoblins, failing miserably, of course. We rinsed and repeated this futile attempt a few more times before moving on, but to this day, my simple-minded, "they're bad, it must be killed," resonates as my first misguided experience with the hobby.
Yeah.
Much credit, though, to my high school-aged brother who was willing to humor his annoying younger sibling and get me into this hobby.
Yay.
Hey.
Like, you entertained the hell out of your brother. He was just like, yes, keep throwing yourself at this problem. It will go better this time. That's so good. Do you want me to keep reading or are we coming in now?
You should take more bards.
Yeah. That's what you need. More bards.
Exactly. More
What you
backup.
need is Gem and the holograms as first level D&D characters.
I like
Because
it.
that will
Amazing.
totally win.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it would.
It's truly
Absolutely.
outrageous.
Yeah.
All right. Do part B, Tappy.
Part B. A question on traveling with large parties. In my primary gaming group, we tend to have 5 to 6 players for most games. But I struggle in some with the logistics of in-game travel. Whether it's a modern or fantasy game, you're likely to get into situations where 1 to 2 party members can't afford a horse, or you have access to a 4-seater sedan, but not something that could reasonably fit 6 kitted out Shadowrunners, or armed travelers, or armored barbarians. Even if you try to get around this by providing full-size conversion vans or wagons, they tend to be on the ungainly side of things and rather conspicuous.
Ice cream truck.
Right.
That's not creepy.
This topic could also easily venture into the realm of group stealth roles and other similar large group movement discussions. Frankly, even with a party of 4 people, similar concerns are relevant, as 4 armored thugs showing up to question some innocent bystander is not a socially acceptable event. Do you have any tips on keeping the party together while maintaining realism?
Nope.
Don't
I have some thoughts on this.
Huh?
go.
Number 1, if you are that concerned about realism, and these are adventures, how the fuck do they not have a horse? You're an adventure. You travel from place to place doing adventure thingies. How'd you survive?
They ate the horse.
Like, okay, like if you are stuck somewhere and you desperately and you can't go anywhere, like you're a shit adventurer. So maybe you should talk to your players beforehand about how they travel around, how they actually do stuff.
That's a good idea.
The other thing is whoever hires them gives them a horse.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
you don't have to provide a fucking buggy or anything like that because that is difficult to do. But yeah, just whoever hires them gives them a horse. I mean, the Bagginses didn't show up with horses. I'm sure, you know.
You talking about the dwarves?
No, the dwarf did.
hobbits.
No, the hobbits. They didn't show up. They probably don't have big horses,
No.
right?
Ponies.
So, yeah. They were provided for them.
They walked a lot of it.
All of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They actually walked.
Okay, but regardless,
You
there's-
can walk.
You can walk.
You can walk.
But
But I get the problem of like it's just a bunch of birds.
basically
just
what it
walking
is
down the
is
street.
if somebody's hiring them to do something with many gold, probably can provide a horse.
The reason you wouldn't want to, go take a weeks or months long journey somewhere is you're probably not carrying enough water, and you have to rely on the fact that you're going to have water when it's time to bed down for the night.
Right.
And if there isn't, you better hope you have enough on you, and you better hope the next leg of your trip the next day you're going to find water. It's like when people go backpacking
Yeah.
Yeah.
up here in the Sierras. they know, okay, we know there's water here, there's water here, there's water here, so we have to be able to make it to these places in one day. If we don't get to refill our canteens. That's one of the major limitations.
And so, if you want that level of realism, you have to start having people plan for this. And if
Right.
they can't do it, they can't go.
Right.
Yeah.
So they have to figure it the fuck out. And if that is what you're going for, that is one of the puzzles they have to figure out, have them figure it the fuck out. If you have Shadowrunners who can't get around, I mean, again, how are they Shadowrunners? How do they have any rep whatsoever, like getting places?
Uber.
Yeah, they can
Yeah.
Uber places.
Exactly.
Then have them do that. How would you get to runs if you don't have a motorcycle?
Or maybe it's
I
Uber.
do this. Cool, that's what you do.
Yeah.
Right.
mean,
Goblins have Uber.
But again, give it to them to figure out as a puzzle.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of what we do in role playing.
Yeah.
Is figure out puzzles. Even combat can be considered a puzzle. So make them figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you just have to remember the limitations of how much a person can carry. I mean, if you're talking about like a fantasy setting, how much can these people carry? You know what food weighs, you know what water weighs, so they can only carry a certain amount. That's the max distance, and they better help fucking find a brook or something along the way, or they're screwed.
Right.
You need to make it matter, though, because if you're going to, usually what I do in games is, hand wave the travel time. If you're planning to hand wave the travel time, don't fucking, deal with the minutia of whether they have horses or not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Don't be like, this is a puzzle you have to solve. Oh, and then you're there.
Yeah.
It's no, if you're gonna be nitpicky about this, be nitpicky about the whole trip, and they have to do the trip.
Yeah.
It has
and
to
then
mean
the campaign
something.
is the
Yeah.
journeying of it and not the... I can't stand this personally in games.
Well, generally that's...
Yeah, I'm super ADHD.
Yeah,
so
I
it's
can't.
I have to keep track of all of this.
14
That's great.
days of travel. What I would do is say, okay, mark off 14 days of water, mark off 14 days of food. If you don't have, is anyone running out? Oh, you only have 4 days of water. Okay, on day 5, you've run out of water.
Right.
You are about here.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Or-
and then fast forward to those
Or you
points.
can even just tell them it will take 14 days of food and water. Can you get that? No. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
now you have to do
Prepare
something.
before
Yeah,
you leave.
figure out
But
your
now
life.
we're
Or
playing,
you can
tabletop
go and then you
Oregon
find out in
Trail.
that place.
Right.
Yeah,
This is a nightmare.
But that's what this is.
Don't
this
play
is
this game.
100% Oregon Trail.
And some people like that.
Some people like that.
It's
I know.
absolutely true.
I
I mean,
don't
I
like
them.
loved Oregon Trail, and if I knew ahead of time this was a game I was sitting down for, I might enjoy it.
Yeah.
If I was sitting down, you say what I do, but you'd never do this, Stu. You'd never do this in a game. I don't feel like. So, I mean, now that I've said that, you might now.
Oh, this
But-
kind of minutia, I stopped doing it. I
Right.
used to do it in
I know.
GURPS
Yeah.
quite a bit.
Yeah.
Right.
What?
But I feel like if I sat down to one of your games and suddenly you were like, I would be like, where am I? Who are you? What if we where am I now?
Unless there's a reason for it to be a major plot point.
Yeah.
Right.
I've played
Right.
Don't Starve before. There are games where you're like, I'm going to sit down and just try to scratch out a meager existence. But if the point of this is I want to be vaguely realistic while having a fantasy adventure.
Yeah.
Please just make them pay the amount of gold before time to get to where they're going.
Yeah.
That
Absolutely.
though.
Or bring someone with great water and great food.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh.
Exactly.
He gets to ride the horse.
Yeah. I DM a game of upwards of 8, 13 to 15-year-old boys. And their rule now is that 2 of them get to walk down the street and one of them sits in the mage's weight box, or the rest of them sit in the mage's weight box, which is a pocket dimension where they wait for something to happen. What? And they can just look through a little window. It's like the sunken place in Get Out. And it's the only way I can keep a bunch of squirrely boys. 2 of you, just 2 of you do this thing. The rest of you wait quietly. I cannot with the realism
You
on the
literally
road.
put them in the penalty box. You
Yeah,
sit over there and be
they're
quiet.
in a timeout zone.
Yeah. That's
And
amazing.
they've created a magical Xbox inside it, and they just sit there and talk quietly about whatever video game they give a shit about that day, and it's
amazing.
wonderful.
That's hilarious.
So that I don't know how to help with this. I'm sorry.
I feel that's amazing.
It's so stupid.
I feel like this is a situation though where you're gonna find out just how murder hobo-y your party is.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna be like, oh, we don't have water. Oh, look, there's a farmhouse.
Oh God. They all turn into the Hound from Game of Thrones. Jesus.
100%. This is what's gonna happen. So be ready for that.
going to make it through winter anyway.
Yeah. I feel like
So good.
this is the reaction to this. So be ready when you make these things this important. They're gonna become that important to the characters.
And if you are going to do this, and I do not suggest you don't, but if you are going to do this, make sure you have your starvation and dehydration rules. And if they don't exist, make them.
Make them up.
Because if you don't have, you got to back it up. You got to back it up with.
Oh yeah, do they have tents too? Because it's starting to get cold,
That's
and
right.
so they might get hypothermia at night.
That's right.
So you got to pack that too.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's too much for your horse. So now we need a pack horse.
Hold on,
Right.
but do you wear your armor all day long? Because then you're sweating, and it should actually take more water than normal.
Oh,
And
no.
also, if it
No.
gets cold at night, you might get hypothermia. Like, struggle.
You know what you could do? You could just get one of the little sim versions of Oregon Trail and just have them play that in between. Like, okay, it's time to travel. Everybody, pull out your
So yeah.
your
So
phone.
basically,
so good.
determine what level of realism
Yeah.
you want.
Just actually take them hiking.
Yeah, don't go.
We're going to Joshua Tree. We're playing a game.
Bring enough water.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Cancel Donner, party of one. What are we doing?
Well, in modern days, it'd be a lot easier because now, I mean, they have those like micro filter
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
straw
Yeah.
things where you can go to like the gankiest river and go
Right.
Yeah.
and drink out of the straw and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I read a recent report that shows the flowing water in California has much less Giardia in it than was previously thought.
Oh, really?
And was mostly because hikers are terrible at sanitation.
I believe
They're
that.
they're carrying it around themselves.
Yeah. But drink through the straw and don't
Yes.
just drink it anyway.
No.
You don't want Giardia.
Waterless.
You don't want Giardia when you're a 20-mile hike from civilization.
No, you don't.
That's gonna suck.
Or ever.
That's a
just
lot
never.
of potty breaks.
Yeah,
like
nope.
that.
Sanitation is your number
Yeah.
one concern.
Part
Sorry,
4.
I'm allergic to hiking.
Are we there already? Oh, I thought we had part. Okay. Part 4. This is my job. Epic magic / engineering. Completely unrelated to the previous topics. What are your feelings about large-scale feats of magic or engineering in games? To elaborate, often NPCs or plot devices are capable of feats that aren't normally available to PCs. I worry that this can cause disempowerment concerns. For example, this NPC wizard has a magical house powered by a chain fire elemental. Hello, Howl's Moving Castle.
Calcifer!
Yeah. Which is super cool. Perhaps the PCs can interact with this or inherit it, but the rules don't actually support them creating their own. I lean towards explaining such things by saying, sure, if your wizard spends years tinkering with this project, they can capture their own elemental and harness it. Or, when you find this ritual, recruit 20 other magic users and sacrifice a bunch of people, and you can destroy a city instead of just firing off some magic missiles. Magic seems the easiest candidate for examples, but I can think of technological things as well, where only the ancients managed to engineer worlds, despite the fact that characters can only buy a small ship from Joe's used spaceship emporium. However, I wonder if there's any other approaches you can come up with. See, Steve in SoCal, the grimace on the forums. P.S. Bet you're wondering where Port Charlie went.
Part.
Part Charlie went. Sorry.
Port Charlie's down the street.
Yeah, that's totally different.
That's a bar.
Part Charlie went. P.P.S.
Not case.
I'll never tell. P.P.P.S. I'm going to assume my feeble attempt at humor just fell flat, in which case I now apologize.
We
Forgive
accept
me.
your apology.
It's mostly fell flat because I fucked it up, but yeah. All right.
I have feelings about this.
Go.
Shocking. Go.
Yes. That's how they do it in Apocalypse Worlds. Is you can make anything you want, but I will tell you what you need to get it.
Yeah.
It's like, I would like to make a nuclear missile. Cool. Well, you need to get plutonium, and then you need to get all the things to build all the hardware,
Yeah.
and then you need to learn how to program, and then you need to get some computers and learn how to program, then you need to get a launch pad, and blah, 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 blah. Like, all these things that you need to
And
get.
rocket fuel and
Yeah. And when you
Yeah.
do that, you can make
The
a
nuclear
nuclear
missile.
missile. That's totally cool. There's also a thing that I have with, like, why would you have, let's say we're playing a modern day game and you just fly somewhere in a private jet. One people says, that private jet's awesome. I'm going to build a private jet. You wouldn't do that.
No.
You just fucking buy one.
Right.
So why, if you're running in Howl's Moving Castle, like, I'm going to build a castle. It's only going to take me 25 years.
Yeah.
And it's going to
Fair.
be way more expensive than buying it because I have to get all of the things to make all this stuff rather than somebody already having them.
Right.
So, like, why would you make your own G6? Why do you reinvent the wheel if you could just buy it?
Exactly.
And if you can't buy it, well, murder hobo some people and take it.
See our last email. If you don't have water,
Yeah.
kill
I mean-
people and get water.
Exactly.
I mean, or do what you have to do to get these things.
Right.
But
Sounds like the
building-
DM is offering you a Howl's Moving Castle.
Yeah.
Just kill the wizard.
Just, yeah.
There you go.
Or will
Building-
killing the wizard break the enchantment that's
all get
containing
But it
stuck
just
there.
it sounds so weird to me to be like, I'm going to build this thing. It's like, houses are great, so I will build a house. Why don't you just buy it? Buy a house.
Right.
Well, or commission somebody to build it for you.
Yeah.
What's fun is adventuring.
But this is also a world without building codes, so it's a lot easier to build a house.
Yeah.
That's true. Sure. But I mean, that's kind of my thing. Is like, why build stuff yourself? You can design it yourself and have somebody build it.
Yeah.
Or buy it from somebody.
That happens a lot,
Or-
though.
Yeah.
It happens a lot. I mean, someone sees a mage with something cool, or like a game exists where there's a floating city.
Right.
someone somewhere along the line did the enchantment that made that thing happen.
Yeah. Right.
And I can easily see a mage going, I want to know how to do that spell.
Yeah.
And that's, of course, that spell doesn't exist in the book.
Right.
It's like
Yeah,
the
they-
Pinterest for wizards. Like, oh, I want to do that myself.
Nailed it.
Put it on the board.
Like
Get
a
it.
floating house, like
Yeah.
on one side, and it's all
Pinterest
rickety
fail.
and shit.
Oh my god, yeah. You need
Nailed
the Pinterest and the Pinterest fail. Oh my god. You need it
Just have
so
a clump
badly.
of dirt rolling slowly in your kitchen as you look confused. It's fine.
There's probably, hundreds of enchantments that do a
Yeah.
building, a floating city like that.
Sure.
I was like, or just look at that city. I would like to build me a city like that. Oh man, that takes a long time. That sounds like a lot of not adventuring.
Yes.
But I do like the idea that, like, if your player wants to do something, like, there's enough in the rules to let you do it, but, like, put the onus on them to figure it out.
Yeah.
So you're like, I want a house moving castle. And they're like, okay, well, what spell? Like, you know all the spells that are in the world, like, both you and your player, like, the player behind you, the ghost in your machine. Like, what are you going to use to try to build it? Right. And they're like, okay, well, I need summon fire elemental. Like, okay, you don't know that yet, so are you taking the whole group on a trip to, like, the flame plane to, like, go find one?
That's
like, what do
awesome.
you do? Like,
Yeah.
now it's a new adventure because you decided you want a thing, but, like, you have to explain the steps, and then the DM can just sit there and be like, that could work, or, like, that's not how you make a castle move.
Yeah.
But keep trying. That's pretty good.
Well, and I like the yes end of that.
Yeah.
Of like, yeah, you want a house moving castle. Go do these adventures that are self-guided.
Exactly.
It's that motivation to do things.
Yeah.
And you don't have to always be an errand boy. Sometimes you can have the stuff you want.
Exactly.
Make
And
you
it
go
could
on
be
adventure.
they go and talk to the mage in the floating castle and say, "Hey, I had to go and do this, and da 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 da," and then they, as they're, it's not far away from this place where we're going. They
Yeah.
could go and
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
make
talk to
that,
the air
pieces are
elementals or
fun,
whatever.
yeah.
yeah, like that can become the adventure, and that's super cool.
Yeah.
Just that way, like everybody's involved, and that would
Exactly.
be amazing as a GM
Yeah.
to have that happen. You're like, oh my god, my prep for the next 6 months
It's
is
beautiful.
done.
Right.
Like, it's
Exactly.
finished.
It's what I love about a sandbox.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, you came up with your own motivations and are doing your own things. Yeah.
So good.
I'll absolutely tell you what happens when you do that.
And all you have to do is, like, sprinkle it in sometimes when the player's like, oh, I don't know how to get, like, the legs to work mechanically.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, well, I'll help out. Here's
Yeah.
one NPC that, like, walks by on mechanical legs. You're welcome. And then you just give them a beautiful Christmas gift and then, like, let them figure out the rest of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Now I want a moving castle.
I
But I want
know.
it to be a tiny house.
A tiny house moving
How?
castle, so like only 5 people can fit in there, and there's like a
Exactly.
6th person in your party that's like running behind and does bullshit.
They can't all fit. It can't fit 6 fully armored adventurers.
The armored adventurer is like holding on to one of the legs.
Just bouncing on. Yeah.
I just want a pocket dimension where I could put kids who are being annoying. That's
Weight box is dope.
Yeah, 100% the weight
I
box.
actually made weight box a different room in the house so they can like if they're being too like
Uh-huh.
fiddly and like
Nice.
like gross and terrible. I'm like, all right, you guys have to go walk to a place. Weight box. Go in the other room and go talk for 10 minutes about like the Overwatch event, and then I'll
Yeah.
bring you back later.
Nice. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think embrace that. It's a super fun idea. I like the idea of I like the difference. Like I'm a huge Stargate fan, so the ancients who like made all this technology that nobody's
Yeah.
met yet, like nobody's gotten to that level yet, but they can like utilize it if they find it, so it becomes super valuable. Like that's an
Yeah, yeah,
interesting thing.
Because yeah, then you get the real world analog of like
Yeah.
people living in the Dark Ages, where they're like, I can still see wonders from the world, but I do not know how
Yeah.
to build that
Yeah.
thing. Because we lost math for like 500 years in Europe. I don't know.
Yeah.
We did.
I don't know why that
we
happened.
did. No, we were dumb.
That was weird. But yeah, it feels really good.
Yeah.
Oh, it's what I also just really like about that whole thing is the letting players figure shit out for themselves and figure out what they want.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And making your own stuff is the best stuff.
Absolutely.
It's a big relief when a campaign hits a point where you're no longer coming up with the plot hooks.
Yeah.
Everything's sort of established, and the player's like, "Oh no, we've got plans now."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like, "Ah,
We did that 5 minutes into Monster Hearts.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, 5 minutes in that.
Mac, and you just like put her in a headlock and wrestled the plot away. It was beautiful.
I don't know if you guys just doing shenanigans is quite the same as you like having a direction.
You said direction?
Yeah.
Shenanigans.
Okay. Shenanigans.
is there direction in Monster Hearts?
Sex?
Well, no.
So dick
That's
word.
motivation.
No,
Dick word is
no, no,
the
no.
direction.
Actually, my character was like going for that, and then like completely went off in a different direction I didn't expect, and it's very sweet and nice.
Very cute. I actually do like it.
adorable.
It was very adorable.
I'm a little worried about what Tappy considers sweet and nice.
It was sweet and nice.
They're gonna play Scissor Me Timbers in like an episode.
Timbers.
It's gonna be great.
Oh my god!
And I'll be in the chat being like, yeah, get it.
Oh god, Sesame Timbers! I've never even heard that before, and that's so good. Oh my god!
Hey.
All right.
I got nothing.
Props related horror story. Oh, thank you, Steven Sokol.
Steve, yes.
Oh, props! I had a prop also in Monster Hearts #1. I don't know if you watched the game. And it was
it in
not
your
a black
backpack right now?
No, it was not a big black dildo. No, I made a friendship bracelet.
It was
did you?
so sweet.
Yeah.
The whole
Very
chat, like,
cute.
they were like,
Did you make it out of rolled up chewing gum wrappers?
No, I made it out of thread that are the colors of the Monster Hearts jersey plus red for blood.
Oh, okay,
oh,
cool.
that's so cute.
Yeah.
I want one.
Yeah.
They're super into school spirit.
Damn it.
Oh man, it was really hard to make. I had to like undo it and redo it like 8 times because textile
Is it
art
that
is not my
is
thing.
it that plastic stuff that you kind of loop around itself?
that's a
The
lanyard.
is
Yeah.
different.
I hate those.
Lanyard.
I made so
Yeah.
many of them.
Is it where there's like 3 or 4 of them, and you put them,
Yeah.
loop them
Yeah.
through each
Yeah,
other?
when I was completely ignored in like summer camp. Yeah, I made a
Yup.
ton of those.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oodles of them.
Yeah.
This
Oh,
is
I
the,
used to see people that would
embroidery
make them with
thread
like
friendship
12
bracelet.
different strands.
Yeah, the
and
different braids.
They'd have like different ones that loop
And they
around each
spin
other.
up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my
good.
god, I was like
What a
master of
useless
those.
thing.
I mean, yes, but yeah.
Yeah, also useless. Yeah, but it was really great when you were bored in class.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, props are great.
Yeah.
I like
Yes.
them.
So cute.
Sorry.
Who wants to, who should I go back to it since you guys each read a section?
This is you. It's your
Sure.
turn now.
Here,
All
you,
right.
you made the friendship bracelet. I think Tappy should read it.
Oh,
Okay.
never mind.
Dear Stucherinos and wine bags and all sorts.
I want to be a wine bag.
Okay, fair enough.
Cool.
Maybe wine bag.
Done.
Sweet.
I
Yay!
will be an all sorts. Having recently joined the forums, I am still completely overwhelmed at the wealth of information and insights there.
Welcome. Yay!
I think I'm now the RAF captain. I'm completely between inviting all my friends and not telling them at all. You can't understand that at all.
And not telling them at all, so you can just lay back and steal all the good ideas for my games. Go ahead.
That's the best.
That's the retired
Yeah.
British Army officer.
Yeah. So anyway, here's somewhat of a conundrum. I love props.
Wait, before
And I cannot lie.
You
What?
other-
Yeah.
Nah.
wait, before you go back to you're divided between inviting all your friends and not telling them. Invite your friends. Invite your friends to the
Oh
floor.
yeah. Invite them.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah,
now
yeah.
continue.
I love props.
Me too.
Nothing like a nice map of the area you're exploring, a newspaper article about what's going on, or a few drawings of NPCs to help with immersion and making things feel quote unquote real.
Or custom-made ponies.
What?
Yeah. Didn't you do that in the game?
I did.
That's so freaking cool.
I did a laser ponies game where I made individual ponies for each one of them. They were all different.
That's so good.
And it was the A team, so one of them was like a gold pony that had like a cigar. It was so fucking amazing, and like a mohawk.
I love Laser Ponies so much. Such a great game.
All right, go ahead. Sorry, ponies are cool.
It's been a long time since we played Laser Ponies.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a long time. It's been a long time since duties.
Yeah.
It's just the nicest thing to dig out a long-forgotten character sheet and find props collected during adventures, along with notes to relive some great memories.
Yes.
I've been playing with a GM who also loves props. Yay! Props to him.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, takes things a little too far.
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
Oh, we're fighting now.
That's the bag of dildos.
Well, maybe that. Did he decorate dildos? I think he's customized for each character.
Might be playing Fatal.
Playing Fatal. Oh God, don't play Fatal.
Don't put that.
Don't even read it. Don't even
look
try
at
to
it.
read it.
Really don't read
If you
it.
don't know what we're talking about, don't look it up.
On this dungeon crawl type adventure, we were in a room where a puzzle needed to be solved, which is all fine and good until the GM brought out his handmade actual puzzle and stopwatch to see how quickly we could put it together before bad things happened.
Yikes.
For me, this crosses a line. I want my character to do well, not me as a player. The other players seem quite into it, though. Of course, any role-playing went straight out the window, as the barbarian with intelligence 8 was a master puzzle solver as a player.
Yeah.
Right.
I could have taken one of these for fun, but there were more riddles where the players needed to apply logical thinking, sort things into the correct categories, show their knowledge, etc. My attempts at role-playing were frowned upon by the rest of the group. Quote, "You need to help us. You can't just sit there and do nothing," end quote. Quote, "But my character does not know anything about this," end quote. Quote, "Come on, but you do, just help us out here,"
You twit.
end quote. My attempts at finding at least a link to the rules were blocked by the GM. Well, my character has a history and occult lore. Do we get a bonus to solving this one, e.g. the first 5 pieces laid out? Quote GM, "Oh, come on, it's not that hard. Just go ahead and try and solve it." I understand the GM invested time into building his props. I also get where the fun comes from. I'd like a challenge too, and outside of an RPG setting would have liked some of the riddles and games and puzzles. But in an RPG setting, I want to play my character, not myself. I can't fight with a sword. My character can. I can't do magic. My character can. I can solve a riddle. Maybe my character cannot. Still, I was the only one apparently having a problem with this. Am I the weird one here? Discuss. Axel from Germany.
Not
Should have
even
done
a
that in
little.
German accent.
No.
Yeah.
Nobody
Well, I'm glad
would,
you did it.
No one would have understood
No,
goddamn
can't
thing, though.
even, but-
You're fine, Axel. This makes me very sad.
I have feelings about this.
Go.
Do you never?
Shocking.
You never not.
What this reminds me of is old school gaming.
Yeah.
Like the old
Player
school
skill.
Renaissance that happened.
Yep.
And that whole idea, Castles and Crusades was that one that came back again.
Swords and Wizardry, because
Right.
it comes the same way. Old D&D.
Right. And it's that idea of one of the things, and I could be getting this wrong because I know players in our forum play this way. But the idea is that it's player immersion, but not necessarily character. Like the character is a set of tools a player gets in order to solve problems or in order to interact with the world, not necessarily a personality that they play or don't play. Like the idea is, of course, my character would do this. I'm my
would do
character.
this.
Yeah, I like that.
And so it's a definite style of playing, like this barbarian who has intelligent 8 being master puzzle solver doesn't have a lot of intelligence tools to help his master puzzle solving. But that doesn't mean that the player doesn't get to do the puzzle solving. It's again this very specific. This is not how I play at all. Like this is completely different, but I understand why people do this. There's a board game called Mansions of Madness that is fantastic. You played it?
I don't know of it, though.
So it has these puzzles where some of them are like these slidey puzzles, and some of them are like, remember Mastermind?
Yeah.
That old game? You do these
Yeah.
Mastermind-like things, but it's all you solving these puzzles. And then you have characters that you're playing, and some of them have like high like lore or intelligence or things like that or whatever. If you have high lore, you get more chances to solve it. If your character has low lore, you have less chances to solve it, but you're still solving it. Like, so if you're playing a character with less lore, you have less tools to solve the puzzle than one that has a higher lore, but it's still you solving the puzzle. That is a perfectly fine way to play these games, and it's like the idea of what would if I was Gandalf, what would I do?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, if I was worrying about what Gandalf would do, it'd just play the same as the rest of the book.
Exactly.
It's what I personally would do as opposed to what Gandalf would do.
Yeah.
That I like I personally like playing the character. Like, instead of putting myself into the game, I put myself into the character.
Sure, right. It's immersion. It's just a different kind of immersion.
Right.
Yeah.
I've seen this happen a lot at like conventions, at con games and one shots that way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Bill has done a couple of these where it's almost.
They had like a gingerbread house or something.
Yeah,
they had to
like
make
they had to
or
put, like
something.
put something. So it's almost like a break, like an intermission activity. Like I think of it in teaching terms, where it's like, okay, we're doing our in-depth learning, and then we're going to do like a movement activity, where so we can all kind of like
Reset.
reset, and then
Yeah.
go back into it. So it actually works really well and things like that. Like that might be something really cool actually for your kids' game.
Yeah, I think I like that.
Where it's something where it's like, and it also builds camaraderie at the table in a
Yeah.
very quick way, where if it's not there previously.
Yeah.
So even though you do come out of your characters, you get to do something, a task together. It builds that team feeling. So when you go back into those characters, so that it can actually be very productive, very good use of time in a game. But you do kind of have to do it. If other people at the table are not being in character when they're doing it, which would be my personal choice. Like if I was presented with a puzzle like that and my character's not good at puzzles, it would be super lame for me to be like, I'm not good at puzzles. I'm not saying that was lame as your choice, but I as a person would be bored if I'm like, oh, I can't help because I'm not good at puzzles, and just sit there and watching.
Yeah.
If you're super into your character and you're choosing to make, like, that's a very different situation. But I think if other people are dropping their characters to solve that puzzle, like, go with the flow. That would be
get
my
that,
choice because
but
I like
yeah.
doing it.
I think there's like an unspoken anxiety here that like their character is better at these things than they are, and there's like the like ability gap between like my genius wizard fucking Rubik, like he's a walking Rubik's cube, loves puzzles. I suck at them. So now I have to like live in this world where like I am stressed in a way that like is not fun for me.
Right.
Oh, sure.
So-
yeah.
Yeah, like I can understand if you're dealing with the players like, no, I come here because like I want to play a character that's super good at crossword puzzles and like I don't know a 4-letter word for like hop.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like I think there should definitely be more communication between the GM and the players to be like, hey, by the way, I want you, like, we're going to do something today that's going to require you to play from the top of your intelligence, not your characters. But I do like, I feel bad that it looks like Axel was, like, proffering ways in which to, like, integrate the way they had previously been playing this game.
Yeah.
And what the GM wanted to do based on, like, a whimsy move of bringing in stuff. But, like, yeah, I like the idea of playing a game where, like, the stats are modifiers to your real-world ability to do something.
Yeah.
And then maybe that's how you let a character with higher anxiety for solving a real-world puzzle. Like, oh, if your character, like, Sir Rubik's of Cube, like, has, like, 19 modifiers for this, like, we'll make it easier for you. And then they can be like, well, it's not that I'm bad at puzzles, but it's just I have all these stats to help me do it. And then everyone feels good about it. Because then, like, the barbarian that, like, figures out the puzzle even though, like, the player is smart, but the barbarian had, like, 19 things against them and only had, like, 8 seconds to solve the puzzle, still does it. Like, they feel as triumphant as a character who's like, I just wanted to solve it because my character would solve it.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, and then everyone's happy.
Right.
I had a game once when I was in high school, and super awkward, where I had a bard, because I love bards.
Yay!
And I had like a charisma of 17, but I was not charismatic
Oh, yeah.
at all. But our GM was really charismatic and really quick. Like, he was doing like some like stand-up comedy stuff, and so all of his NPCs were exactly like him.
Oh, yeah.
And I had a 17 charisma.
No.
That did not go well.
He didn't let you roll.
No, he's like, no, you just talk.
Oh, I hate that. I always feel bad about that.
No, but he's so much. Yes.
I cast, let me do this thing.
No, I can't. I cannot fast talk this guard because this guard is you.
Yeah.
Let me into the fucking castle. No.
me into the
Let me into the
goddamn
fucking castle. No. Let me into the fucking castle. No.
And so that's one of the reasons why I like using skills for things.
Right.
I mean, there are people like, this sounds kind of like they went into, this person really likes escape rooms. And you put the players in an escape room.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And there's some people like that are really good at it. And I'm not as good at that as other people.
I hate those things so much.
I've
My-
never been
Hate
in one.
escape rooms?
My
I'm not good with them.
my brother did it once where they missed the first clue that was the key for the coded message that came afterwards.
Oh, no.
And so my brother, having a doctorate in math, just broke the code.
That's That's very good.
Yeah.
So
I like that.
that's
Wow,
one of the problems I have.
this is a really hard escape room you've got here. What do people do when they don't have PhDs in mathematics?
And so that's one of the reasons why I have a tough time with this, is
Yeah.
because like I will never be my brother. And I
Right.
will never have a PhD in mathematics, and I'll never be as into ciphers as he is.
Right.
Because he could have a intelligence for barbarian who could barely speak and break that code.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I understand why people like playing this way, but
But I mean, think of it the other way. Like, if you were playing a bunch of fucking flip wizards, and it's like, all right, in order to like scale the wall, go out and parkour your ass off. Like, no, I can't do a cartwheel. This is awful. But this feels like the GM kind of being a dick and like curving things towards like the perceived intellectual
Well, I know what.
side that they have.
yeah, or
yeah.
like the person who's really good at puzzles, like, hey, I'm going to make puzzles for my
Yeah,
friend
this
who's
is my
really good at
problem.
puzzles.
I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
escape room stuff, and I have to resist that urge constantly.
My guess is he just came up with this idea and he spent a lot of time on it and he didn't want to spoil it.
Exactly.
And I don't think anyone was in the wrong here.
No.
I just think it's
Well,
different.
the GM was in the wrong, but their heart was in the right place.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, he wasn't doing it because I'm gonna.
No.
He thought it would be fun for them to do it.
Yeah.
The GM
Right.
isn't necessarily our fan, so like fuck the GM. Axel's right.
See, that's
Well, I do agree
Give
with
it-
Axel
Yeah.
and how. Yeah.
I bet he listened to the episode where Bill talked about how amazing his puzzle was, and like
Right.
that's 100% happened on the show before. So I mean, it's 100%. I think it's possible. I don't know if anyone's in the wrong here. I think the GM should have given them a heads up and like talked to them before they did something like this.
Yeah.
Like in a one shot, people show up and do weird things, and you're just like, going to do
Well,
that. at
he probably
cons.
thought it would be a surprise.
Yeah.
Even then, I'm not going to vilify the GM.
Yeah. I don't
think that.
I'm kidding. The GM's fine. Just
right,
yes and.
I'm going to use an example
It's
from
just-
my class this week, actually.
Okay.
Okay. So.
But before you start, can you hand me the bare face?
The what?
oh,
Bare
here.
face.
Oh, bare face.
There, I got it.
No, bare face.
Okay,
bare
fair
face.
face. All right, we're opening beer.
Do you want another Zima?
No, I have a beer.
You want a
I had
Zima?
one. I had one Zima. That was.
Do you
enough.
want that Zima?
Can I have a beer? Because I
would
don't want a
like
Zima.
this bourbon.
Yeah, there should be a couple
there
more in the
glasses?
fridge.
So
There are.
Sorry, Emma.
it's okay. I tortured my class this week because I showed up with my bazooki and we're studying the Gold Rush. So I brought and I taught them Gold Rush songs. So this is 100% in some of their wheelhouses, and some of them are just like mortified that
Yeah.
there's music happening, that people are singing, that they're in 4th grade, and that oh my God, people don't sing in their lives.
Right? Ooh.
So it took a while, and it's one of those things where I know some of them had absolutely no fun with it, but enough of them had fun with it that it was like worthwhile, and it was something that was different and out of their wheelhouse, and at least we tried it.
Yeah.
So I feel like, I guess I'm sympathetic to the GM because of that.
Right.
Like, you're going to try things sometimes that not everybody likes.
Yeah.
You did it in, like, good faith. You're like, hey, this is awesome. You know, at least you know this about this player now. You know, the player didn't like it, and I totally think that their reasons, like you were saying, for not liking it are 100% valid.
Yeah.
But it's also like, hey, a lot of thought and effort kind of, like, went into this. Like,
Right.
they did not bring it to screw you over and
Right.
not make you have fun.
That's true.
Like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
And
I
I'm-
think I'm just feeling. Oh, sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
no, go ahead.
I think I'm just feeling a little bad
Right.
for a GM that clearly missed social signals of I am uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Please do something to make me more comfortable.
And then said
like the
no.
GM was like, no, do my puzzle.
Right.
Like, I know you spent an hour bending a nail around another nail,
Yeah.
but like I'm gonna actively shit myself. Are you okay? Did you just die? What did I do?
All right.
You know, I love the tavern puzzles. I love those.
Yeah.
Those are my shit, but like I know that like they're my shit.
Yeah.
But I have to look them up on the internet to see. But I'll sit and fiddle with it for an hour before I'll do that.
I will drag you guys to like 18
Oh my God.
fucking escape rooms.
Oh, yeah, let's do
I've
that.
never
That'd be
been-
awesome.
I've never been to an escape room.
I don't want
I know. I know. Like
I've
the
never
ones on
been to
your
one either.
phone.
I can reach all the high stuff for everyone. Let's go!
All right.
And make Kimmy go.
Yeah. I think I had another point and I don't remember what it was. Never mind. Go ahead.
One of the things I completely missed your kid's story, and I'm sad.
It's okay.
But
I made kids sing. They didn't like it. Some of them
They
did.
say, "Oh my
Yay.
darling Clementine." I don't know.
No,
In a
it's 100%.
tavern,
And oh, Susanna.
for a line.
Yeah.
And we talked about how she
Boxes
drowns,
without
and that's the
boxes,
sort of
right.
thing they faced while they were in the
Wait, she
mines.
drowned?
Oh yeah, she died.
Yeah.
Whoa,
does.
fucking spoilers!
Yeah.
What is this shit?
The song's
Ruby
150
lips
years old.
below the water, blowing
I will
bubbles,
actively
lots of
cry.
fun.
Don't stop it. Stop. You guys are monsters.
And then he decides to date her little sister at the end. Look at the lyrics.
It's terrible.
It's a terrible song.
Only the dog's whimpering right now. Know my feelings.
All right.
So one of the problems that I have with just like player knowledge in general is I'm playing what is now my favorite game, which is Monster Hearts. It's going to be this Monday.
Right.
And if
Stop!
anybody
It's
knows
not
right now,
time to
it'd be great.
promo yet.
Not promo time.
But
Not promo yet.
I'll promo it again because Merzine. If I had my knowledge now of me back in high school, I would have been a god.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Oh my god.
And so going back and playing a high schooler, you have to go back to that,
Yeah.
wow, I'm really fucking awkward. Wow, I don't know how this works.
Unless you were a god in high school.
Sorry. Has it been that bad this whole
believe
time?
you.
No.
Okay.
I feel everything you're doing as like you are playing the sole minority in a sea of whiteness. I grew up in Irvine, like, hello, I'm a chocolate chip in this boring ass cookie. Here we go. That token life. So like everything you're doing, I'm like, yup. That. Forever that.
Oh, I had one more. Oh. Are we moving on from the email? Because I have one more thing to say about the email.
No, keep going.
Are you doing? Okay, go.
No. We were just high-fiving.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, now plug the.
No, I had
No,
a thing
not
for-
yet.
Oh, okay. Say your shit.
Keep your thing about the email. Are you done with the email?
Yeah.
You had
Yeah.
a thing.
Oh,
Oh,
you
okay.
had one more thing to
Okay,
say.
I'm also going to call your GM on their shit because I've been in this place. There's been a couple times where I was subbing when I was a super young teacher where I ended up subbing a class I was completely unqualified to teach.
And subbing means something completely different in my world.
No, sorry. Substitute.
There's no safe word in school.
So,
That's one of the problems.
oh god, okay. So when your
I'm
GM,
yelling avocado on the playground.
Can you mute tapping? No. I'm just kidding. All right. So when your GM said, "Oh, come on, it's not that hard. Just go ahead and try and solve it,"
Yeah.
that was their BS way because they didn't know the first step. That is also probably why they didn't want to. When you were like, "Hey, could you put the first 3 pieces together?"
Yeah.
They probably weren't able to do it. Or the pieces are all mixed up. They didn't want to spend the time like going through and looking at it. Like
Yeah.
I don't know what this puzzle looked like, but that is 100% like the call sign of a teacher who doesn't actually know how to do something. Who's like, "Oh, keep working on that. You can do it."
Yeah.
So I'm going to call them on that. That they didn't necessarily say no to you because they were like they wanted you to do it because they didn't want to help you. I think there's a chance that they said no because they couldn't actually help you.
But if you made a puzzle, like if it's like a puzzle, like a jigsaw puzzle, you know what the picture was.
Right, but are you going to go through, like, while the whole table's in there waiting? Could you put the first 4 pieces together? Are you going to start looking through all the pieces for the 4 you know go together?
If you're solving a jigsaw puzzle in a D&D game, fucking flip that table and find it. What the fuck?
Yeah, I mean,
Or
it's
is
hard
it
to...
two bent nails?
My
I don't
God.
know, like, not knowing what this puzzle looked like, it's hard to... But
Right.
I 100% recognize that phrase
Right.
as bullshit of, "Oh, no, you can do this. I believe in you."
Yeah.
As, like...
I've done that a lot of
Yeah,
tutoring. Like,
right.
I don't know physics. You
Yeah.
got this.
I think it's important that you find this answer on your own. So let's go back and look at the pages.
Yeah, when you're like reading ahead of the kid, like, I will learn this 0.5 seconds faster than you. And that's all tutoring is.
So anyway, I think there's a high percentage chance that there was something like that happening in this too. So I don't know if they necessarily said no because they didn't want to help you, other than and were being a dick and like no-anding you.
Yeah.
But I think maybe they just
Yeah, I think I'm just bristling at the no and.
Yeah.
Like, just
No, 100%.
give them a shot. Like,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Well, thank you, Axel, for the email.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super good topic.
Before we go on to plugging games, speaking of safe words, do you have a copy of our new CD, Atlas Chugged?
Ooh, I like it. Oh, it's chugged.
Atlas Chugged.
Like shrugged,
Yeah.
but a pun
Drinking.
with drinks. This is good. And hold that more.
Yeah,
Hold
that's
that
for
more.
you.
It's for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. This
And the
is
last
best
song on it's
birthday
called
ever.
Safe Word.
Oh, fuck, it is.
You want one?
Yeah.
I thought I gave you one already.
You did it?
No, it's
I'll give
my
you
birthday.
Okay.
You should give it to him tomorrow.
All right.
You bring $5?
No.
Oh, this is amazing.
Oh, I don't get free CDs anymore.
I'm gonna bump the shit out of this on the drive home. I'm
Yeah.
excited. Thank you. Where can I
Awesome.
find music like this if I wanted,
Oh.
let's say, a digital version?
Right now, you can only get it at the Renaissance Pleasure Fair. However, sometime in June, it will become available on all fine e-tailers.
Like iTunes and
Yes.
Spotify?
Spotify, that takes time. But
Yeah.
like iTunes, Google Play, or whatever Google's calling it now, Amazon Music, it'll be on all
CD
of those.
baby.
Probably,
Good to
I'm going to
know.
guess within the next 4 to 6 weeks.
You re-recorded Agincourt.
We re-recorded Agincourt.
Nice.
Thank you for saying that loud. I would have said that wrong the whole time.
Our
That was-
king went forth
yeah.
to Normandy.
That is the first time I ever heard the Poxy Boggards when I was a kid playing Warcraft 2.
That was the first Poxy
Yeah.
Boggart song we wrote.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good.
That's right. Yeah, Bill sings it on.
Yeah,
And
on
Warcraft,
Warcraft.
yeah.
And I remember clicking on like the chapel over again. Yeah, because it's so cool.
In Diablo, yeah.
No, not in Diablo, in Warcraft.
Yeah, it's in Diablo 2, though,
Oh, it
isn't
is?
it? Or not Diablo 2, but Diablo as well. There's one of the versions of Diablo that it's in there.
Homophones. They get you every time.
I don't
Yeah.
There's a. I don't remember.
I might be
remember.
mixing my games. I don't know.
I don't
but I
remember.
think, I don't know.
Maybe.
All right. Is that it? We
I
done?
think so.
Hey.
We got what's going on tomorrow? One Shot Saturday.
What? No, that's on the 19th.
Yeah.
What is
It can't
Shadowcon?
be tomorrow because I'm not ready.
Yeah, it can't be tomorrow because I'm not ready.
body's not ready.
Tomorrow is ShadowCon.
ShadowCon?
So check that out starting, I believe, at 5 p.m.
5 p.m.
And then Sunday, we've got Demigod! With Dem Squad!
So good.
And then Monday, we actually have done
For those of you who don't speak Shriek, that was Demigods.
Yes. It's a very, very, very good show. You should
was
definitely
good.
watch it.
Yeah.
The last time a boy had a baby out his mouth face.
And that wasn't,
good.
that
Like
wasn't
birthed a
shrieking.
baby out his mouth?
That's what demigoddesses sound like. I'm just
They
going to say.
vomited a baby or like birthed a baby
Birth.
Both.
out his
A little
mouth.
Birth
both.
out
He
his...
birthed a baby.
Yeah.
He borfed a baby.
What about the teeth? Was he able to
I
die?
mean, do you want to make a
It
blowjob
was
joke
divine,
right now?
I
Because like,
know.
if every girl can avoid teeth, he can too.
But no, but a baby's much larger than most penises. A baby's head is like that big.
Yeah, if I'm expected to unhinge my jaw like a cobra.
Is that large?
He can. And then a baby comes out. I hope I said that quiet enough that like everyone's gonna be like, I didn't really hear that on the podcast.
No.
with children.
They're fine with that. They're good.
Gray.
All right, and then what's happening on Monday?
And then Monday, we actually have done a switch. Usually it would be our Tales from the Loop game, Insert Coin, but it has flip-flopped and switched with Monster Hearts. So we've got Monster Hearts back-to-back. So Carefree High will be on Monday, and then Tales from the Loop, Insert Coin will be the next Monday after that.
And if we had a table that could fit 8 people, you would do a crossover game?
Oh my God, I don't even want to. I saw the talk about
Well, the
that.
Tales from the Loop are in college,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
the 90s.
I have declared that it will be a crossover when everyone's legal and it will be on Happy Jack's nights and there will be butts everywhere. And I'm not even in the game. I'll just sit on the side and listen.
Yeah. And then.
I don't have enough mic input. You're going to have to share mics.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how that's going to
Oh, we're
happen.
going to share something.
Yeah.
And then next Saturday, May 19th, is the next One Shot Saturday.
Yay.
I'll be running at 11. Tappy's running at 4.
I'm running it 4, yes.
Yes, it's
Is it, there's a Wednesday game too, right?
And this week, yes, it will be Spaniard's
Spaniard's
Ghost.
Yeah.
So that is our Savage Worlds.
Is that the penultimate one?
Penultimate. Yes, I believe it's the penultimate.
I just put up 13, so this would be 14.
Well, no, yes, but so I think it'll be the penultimate one.
Okay.
So, and we're gonna have a bunch of new games starting fairly soon.
Brilliant.
They're trickling in though.
Okay, fire it off.
Do it.
Thank you for joining us for season 21, episode 19 of Happy Jack's RPG Podcast. My name is Stu.
My name is Kimmy.
This is Happy.
I'm a Bria.
And happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yay! Thanks for hanging out
forgot.
with me.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Abria. Happy birthday to you.
I've never heard that song sung good before to me. Thank you. Like, it doesn't normally sound like someone just barfing out a baby. That's
Singers.
amazing. Yeah, that was fucking dope. I was like, this will be, oh shit, they're singers. Cool.
Okay, back to the song.
All right.
Yay.
Thank you for joining us for season 21, episode 19 of Happy Jack's RPG Podcast. My name is Stu.
I'm still Kimmy.
I'm still Tappy.
I'm inappropriate.
Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific time.
Yep.
On Friday at happyjacks.org/live. And thank you very much. If you're going to come out to the fair this weekend, buy your CD. It's out. And the Wives' new CD will be out this weekend, too. It is my understanding. Come One, Come All is the name of it, I think. It's a bukkake joke.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. I got you.
Right. Thank you very much. We'll leave with a song.
Hero Pathfinder, no savage wilds, evil plots will be usurping. Though we could do with less burping, Happy Jack's podcast will be douchebag song. Bang away, Lulu, bang it good and strong. What in the world will the Navy do when good old Lulu's gone? Oh, bang away, Lulu, bang it good and strong. What in the world will the Navy do when good old Lulu's gone? Some girls work in the marketplace and some girls work in stores, but Lulu works in a dockside house with 40 other whores. Well, Lulu had a baby, it was her pride and joy. She would have named it Lulu, but the bastard was a boy. Oh, bang away, Lulu, bang it good and strong. What in the world will the Navy do when good old Lulu's gone? Oh, bang away, Lulu, bang it good and strong. What in the world will the Navy do when good old Lulu's gone?
She took me to the stables and we sat down in the stalls. And every time the horse would neigh, she grabbed me by the balls. She took me to a mountain top and banged me on a hill. 'Cause every time I said I won't, my echo said I will.
I will. Bang away, Lulu, bang it good and strong. What in the world will the Navy do when good old Lulu's gone? Oh, bang away, Lulu, bang it good and strong. What in the world will the Navy do when good old Lulu's gone?
Our Lulu, she ain't very old, she's only 23. She spent one night with a sailor boy who'd just come home from sea. Next morning they both kissed goodbye upon the city docks. Lulu had his money and that sailor had the box.
Oh, bang away, Lulu, bang it good and strong. What in the world will the Navy do when good old Lulu's gone? Oh, bang away, Lulu, bang it good and strong. What in the world will the Navy do when good old Lulu's gone?
Well, Lulu has another trait that men know very well. When she lies down and spreads her legs, she has that special smell. Well, Lulu's explanation when men turn away in shock, she says, "Don't look at me, good sir, we must be near the dock."
Oh, bang away, Lulu, bang it good and strong. What in the world will the Navy do when good old Lulu's gone? Oh, bang away, Lulu, bang it good and strong. What in the world will the Navy do when good old Lulu's gone?
I wish I were a bar of soap in me Lulu's tub, for every time she took a bath, her bosom I would rub. Me Lulu, she's a clean one, she always smells real nice. Although she's got the pox and warts, she hasn't any lice.
Oh, bang away, Lulu, bang it good and strong. What in the world will the Navy do when good old Lulu's gone? Oh, bang away, Lulu, bang it good and strong. What in the world will the Navy do when good old Lulu's gone?
I wish I was a wedding ring upon me Lulu's hand. For every time she scratched her ass, I'd see that promised land. I asked for her to marry me, she said, "You're very nice, but I'll make you a better deal, I'll let you ride half price."
Oh, bang away, Lulu, bang it good and strong. What in the world will the Navy do when good old Lulu's gone? Oh, bang away, Lulu, bang it good and strong. What in the world will the Navy do when good old Lulu's gone?
I went down to the bakery to get me Lulu's bread, 'cause in return to say her thanks, she always gives me head. I did return the favor, as is my predilection, but 'cause I'd eaten half the loaf, she got a yeast infection.
Oh, bang away, Lulu, bang it good and strong. What in the world will the Navy do when good old Lulu's gone? Oh, bang away, Lulu, bang it good and strong. What in the world will the Navy do when good old Lulu's gone? Oh, bang away, Lulu, bang it good and strong. What in the world will the Navy do when good old Lulu's gone? Oh, bang away, Lulu, bang it good and strong. What in the world will the Navy do when good old Lulu's
The preceding program has been a presentation of the Angry Folk Media Empire.
I've got information, man. New shit has come to light.
Why problem make when you no problem have you don't want to make?